Okay, Marie, so you've been talking, quite a lot about what's been going on for you, and it sounds like what you're wanting from the therapy is something which maybe can help address some of those anxieties and some of the kind of, help you calm down and feel a bit calmer. It'd just be useful to get a sense from you. Do you have any thoughts on what we could do together that might help to work on that and might help address that?
Um, yeah. I don't know. I think I tend to kind of, I don't know if avoid is the right word, but like when my feelings of anxiety come up, I just tend to kind of like
Yeah.
push it aside, because maybe that's what I was taught to do or something. So it could maybe be quite helpful if our sessions are a bit focused, and you can even be a bit challenging, just
Challenging.
because I will kind of tend to gloss over it. Perhaps that happens a lot.
Yeah, that's really helpful to know. And I guess that's a really common thing that people do when they're feeling anxious, is to kind of push that. But I guess one of the things we can do here is to, that I can try and keep you focused on that and maybe encourage you to talk about the things that you're anxious about. Because it sounds like what you're saying is that you tend to just push them to one side if you can.
Yeah, because I never know if I'm making like too big of a deal out of things that I feel anxious about. Like I often get told that, like, oh, well, it's not that big of a deal. So sometimes I get, I guess I just don't talk about it because I feel like be, I might not get the response that I want. So yeah, it would be helpful if you were a bit more like, pulling teeth, if you will, yeah.
Yeah, so kind of, like when you're talking about anxieties about work, like really encouraging you to talk about that and be open about that, and that we can kind of put that on the table here, and it would be useful if I'm inviting you to do that, maybe rather than just waiting until it happens.
Yeah, yeah, because I think if yeah, otherwise I probably won't talk about it because I just feel like I should be able to deal with it.
Okay, that's really good to know. Great.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Well, thanks for sharing that, Melissa. And it's really good to get a sense of some of the things you want to work on around your kind of confidence and feeling more able in groups. I just wonder, do you have a sense of what we could do together that might be helpful in supporting that and helping you move forward on that?
Um, I haven't really thought about that. I guess I'm not really that sure. Maybe someone who can help me develop my skills in a certain way.
Okay. So it sounds like maybe something around skills could be helpful. When you say skills, do you have a sense of what kind of skills, or what might that
Um,
be?
yeah, oftentimes I feel like I know why the problem is there, but I don't really know how to change my behavior around it.
Yeah. So like if you're in a group and what you're saying about feeling there's things you want to say, but not being able to kind of come out with it, or talk about it, and maybe some kind of communication skills, or kind of assertiveness skills, maybe something around that.
Yeah, I think so. And maybe also like knowing how to relax in that kind of situation.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, because what you were describing is that you can end up feeling really tense and quite on edge, can't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you tried? I mean, like with relaxation, have you tried relaxation exercises like breathing exercises and kind of just relaxing your body?
Yeah, I feel like there's so many out there, that I don't know which one to even start with,
Right. Okay.
but
But
I've tried a few.
okay. Well, that's really good to know. And so maybe we can, maybe we can go through some of the kind of the most effective ones, or the ones that seem to have the best evidence. and look at whether those are helpful for you and that whether that would be useful in that situation.
Sure.
Well, Jenny, you've been in psychotherapy before. Based on that experience, do you have any strong dislikes for the therapist's behavior or the treatment method we use?
Okay, that's a really good question. I hate it when, people are really bossy towards me, and I just hate bossy people and don't give me a chance to even think through things. I want to go at my pace, not at their pace. But on the other hand, I don't want somebody that just sits there either, if you know what I mean.
I think I do. So I'll try to avoid being bossy or dictatorial. And now I also hear you saying, though, we better avoid the other extreme, someone who's just quiet and silent.
Yeah, I hate that. I hate just going to therapy where this therapist just nods his head and just doesn't interact with me. I want a bit of both, if you know what I mean.
I think I do. Let me check it with you. So we're trying to avoid either extreme, a very bossy therapist on the one hand and someone who's just quiet. You want someone who's real, interactive, collaborating, but finding the sweet spot between the two. Is it something like that?
That's exactly it, yeah.
Well, thanks for that clear direction and voicing your opinion. And as we proceed, I hope I'll be able to check in with you, Jenny, to see if we are hitting that sweet spot.
Thank you.
Thanks for saying, sharing something about what's going on for you. So can I just have you had counselling before, therapy before?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Okay, when was that?
Probably about 2 or 3 years ago now.
Okay, great. Okay, how did you find it? Was there things that you particularly liked there or didn't like?
Yeah, it was good. It was good. The woman I had the sessions with, she was good. She nodded a lot. She smiled a lot. When I think about it, though, I didn't always feel like she said very much. She repeated a lot of what I was saying back to me, kind of thing, but she didn't always feel like I didn't feel like she always had a lot to add to the conversation, and I'd maybe like it better if maybe, the therapist had a bit more input. I felt like I didn't always take something away from it, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So there's something about getting more input from the therapist and more feedback, maybe, is what you're saying, something like that?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Let's try this brief exercise, Kayla.
Okay.
Close your eyes, breathe deeply for a few seconds, and in your mind's eye, picture what you would like to happen in here. What would I ideally do to reach your goals? What would I not do?
So I guess I really want to focus more on my present self. I feel like I've spent a lot of time thinking about my past, and I don't know if I do fully understand my past, but I feel like I've kind of ruminated on it enough. So if you could just kind of focus more on my life as it is now, and then I would like to build maybe on future goals.
To be sure. So largely stay in the present and keep you focused on those relationships and your future goals.
Yeah, I think that would be best. I'm ready to move forward. Stop thinking about past things.
So you've been talking about what's been going on for you, and you've been talking about kind of really not feeling good about yourself and kind of lacking confidence. And I was just wondering, do you have a sense of what might be helpful as a way of addressing that, and what would be useful for us to do together?
Not really.
No.
No, I kind of feel like I need help on that.
Yeah. Are there things in the past that have been helpful for that, or that you can kind of recall?
Not really, no.
Okay, well that's fine. You know, sometimes we don't really know, and that's often why people come to therapy, is because, you know, they don't know what's helpful. So I guess some of the things that I'm thinking about, you know, as you've been talking, is that one thing is that it might be useful to explore some of the kind of reasons why you've come maybe to feel kind of not very confident about yourself. Like, it might be quite useful. You talked a bit about your childhood and your past, and it might be useful to kind of understand a bit more about where those feelings started, and maybe there was things that, you know, that kind of began them, or were related to where those feelings began. So it might be useful to talk about that. And the other thing that, as you were talking, you were saying about that, it seems to be something about kind of how you, when you talk to yourself, you can be quite critical with yourself, and you can say things to yourself that are quite harsh about you're useless, and you're never very good at some stuff. So, you know, something else that we could do is that we could look at some of those thoughts, maybe explore those, and explore you know, what you're saying to yourself, and maybe look at ways that we could adjust that, maybe make that more, you know, kind of assess whether those are really true, some of those things you say, and maybe look at alternative, maybe more helpful things that you could say to yourself. I don't know, how does that sound?
Sounds good, I think. Definitely like how I talk to myself.
Okay, that's great. So that might maybe give us somewhere to start with, is just looking at those thoughts more, and the things that you're saying to yourself, and that we could have a look at that. Great. Okay.